cloud. We're connecting to the cloud. We should be recording. All right. Correspondence. We have from MES a note that our SCBAs are due for their NFPA Scott required functional flow testing, Don.
No, that was done, that is incorrect. Hold on to that, and I will look at it. We had that done, Steve, if you remember when we reduced our packs down to 10, I believe that would have been, April. That's
All right.
incorrect.
All right, so we will disregard that unless I hear otherwise from you. Kevin Russell. We have a notice from Ford Motor Company on the 2019 F-350, which is the brush truck. I'm seeing the Spanish version. Something wrong with the steering linkage damper.
All right, I'll call them and see what they want to do.
Yeah, if you get any shimmy over a certain speed, they're going to replace it, but I think we should get it replaced anyway. So I'll get you that notice.
All right.
We have from New York State Association of Fire Chiefs notice of a training in Ulster County on October 24th and 25th. Don, I will get that to you.
Okay.
We have from Paychex, who does our payroll, employment poster. We will get that posted at the firehouse. We have from, keeping up, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just tell me slow if I'm going too quickly.
Oh,
Marshall and Sterling, a advertisement of or a welcome pamphlet. I'll get you that to you, Bob Trzynski.
Okay.
There's not much of import in it. We have from VFIS a newsletter. It would seem it would be the most appropriate for the chief staff. I will get that to them. And we have from Fire Law Publishing, Inc., care of Pinsky Law Group in Syracuse, an offer for us to buy Fire Department Law and Management Resource Manual for $310. Any takers on that, or I can throw that away? It's $295 per manual.
Toss it.
Okay, that one is disposed of. I have no further communication. Minutes. We have all had opportunity to review the minutes prior to the meeting, and I seek a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
And a second I seek.
Second it.
Okay, is there any discussion, corrections, additions, or deletions? I don't know who's laughing, but okay, that being said, Bob, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Mike?
Stop it.
Aye.
Kevin, you weren't here, so I'm going to assume it would be
Aye.
hard for you to. Okay, and I'll vote aye as well. The motion carries.
RB.
All righty. Financials. We all have had opportunity to review the vouchers and the invoices. So I would seek a motion that we pay the bills per the abstract.
I make the motion.
I have a question on one of those.
You got to second it first, and then we can have
Second it.
discussion.
Okay, I second it.
Who made the motion?
Mike did.
Mike did.
Okay, thank you.
And then Russ seconded, and he has a question. So any discussion?
Yeah, when I was looking over the vouchers, on check number 3066, which was for $1,406, and it was for the insurance, according to the email, it was for the insurance for cancer benefit. And I remember that it was going to be $188 per person, and I think we had 10 people, so I was expecting $1,880. But also
It's a
up here,
three-quarter payment. I know the answer.
well,
Three-quarter payment.
well, it says contracts 6/12 to 3/12, so it's 9 months. So it's not a quarterly payment, and a quarterly payment, if it was $1,800, it'd be like 400 and some dollars.
It's 0.75 of a year.
Three-quarter. Listen to Mike.
Yeah, Russ, I think,
Say three-quarters.
this is Bob Simon. I think, what I understand the plan is that all the insurance bills will be paid at the end of March. So I think what she did was, and the math works out, is what she did was she took, what would be considered a full year. She basically took that and, multiplied 0.75 by it and got that roughly that number.
Okay, well, that's very good, but I mean, I couldn't tell that from looking at it. I mean, I was expecting it would show 10 people and, that it would, but if it's for 3/4 of a year, I can see that's probably 3/4 of 1,880. So that, I guess, answers my question.
And it is for 10 people. I double checked on that, Russ.
Okay, I was just surprised that it was going till March.
All,
Okay.
all our bills now for insurances are going to appear at that time of the year instead of
Okay.
being scattered.
Satisfied?
All right, any other questions on the vouchers, the invoices, any concerns? All right, that being said, Bob, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Very well, I vote aye as well, motion carries. Good evening, Mr. Pasikoff, how are you? You're muted, we're not hearing you, let me see here. Unmute, Mr. Pasikoff, it says. All right, try that now. We're not hearing you, Jim. He's looking diligently at his screen. No, he says you got a mute across your,
Now it should be audio. We can't hear you.
not hearing you, Jim. Because
Not sure.
you're gonna be up soon and we got questions. All right, so that motion carried to pay the bills. I have had opportunity to review the bank statements. I find that they are in agreement with the financial statement as published by Mr. Pasikoff and would therefore move that we accept the financial records and seek a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Alrighty, any discussion, questions? Very good. Kevin, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Now, Jim, we need you. Have you figured it out?
Looks like he's trying to use a phone now.
We got,
Well, Steve, I'm trying to use my phone now too, so
yeah, you're gonna get feedback if you don't mute one of them. I just, do you have any luck with the phone?
can you see me?
No. Jim still looks like he's just not hearing us.
Well, he's not even showing now. I see two things. It says Kevin's phone, and then I see Kevin Debbie Fierro with a mute sign on it.
Yeah, I muted one of his devices. You can hear us, Kevin?
Hey, guys.
All right, well, so Kevin's iPhone is on.
Right. Steve, I can see you right now.
What is he saying?
I hear you. What is phone number? Bob Simon, what's the phone number you can call in on?
I'm sure. Hold on. Who's it, Jim Pascal?
Yeah.
All right, I'll text him and let him know.
All right, Jim, he's going to text you the phone number. I'm going to grab a glass of water. Hold
Yeah,
on.
water, sure.
There you are, Kev. Whatever you did, we can see you now.
Bob, I can see you. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's good, but
Yeah. So you pushed the right button, whatever there was.
there we go. Technology, I love it.
All right, Kevin, we got. We're waiting for Jim Pasikoff.
I sent him the information. He has it now.
Excuse me.
Well, while we're waiting, Donald, you got a report for us?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for being here this evening.
Oh, thank you.
Last month, we had 13 fire calls, and at the end of the month of July, we had 62. We're at 68 already right now. Our drill will be held on 8/18. We're going to start with a classroom session on outdoor electrical emergency safety and wires down. And then we are going to split up into 4 groups, actually 5, including our support team, decon team. And we're going to go to the work extensively. Steve saw as a new model for our water sources within the district. Our old water source was greatly lacking. So we now have, I went out during the drought to determine where the real sources were, and so we're going to assign each team in each quadrant of the district the assignment of identifying all aforementioned water sources, and when they get to the last one, to draft from it. So it should be kind of fun, a little challenging, and kind of a little competition. We're still continuing with our driver recert. We're almost done with it. Of course, with the COVID, we did hit a little speed bump, but we're going back forward with that, and it's going very well. We are going to be doing a massive cleanup day here sometime in the near future. A complete throwout and look at like we still have all the old failed hose in one of the containers. And so we are going to do a very big all-day work detail to really get a lot of nonsense out of here that is junk. So be looking for the commissioners to approve a 20-yard dumpster for that day, of which will be announced in the near future. I don't know what 20-yard dumpsters cost, but it's going to be exclusively for the use of cleaning out a lot of the hose and a lot of other things there. So we'll be having a big cleanup day then. The old surplus extrication equipment looks like is going to a small fire company up on the Canadian border. I'll let you know more about that, but I've been working with MES and looking for a company that had no extrication equipment whatsoever. So donate to them, and of course we would have a no liability clause written in there when they take possession of that surplus equipment. Our turnout for calls has been tremendous. We skated through the storm very well. We were really lucky. We were the luckiest ones in the county, actually. That's what good, clean living will get you. Kevin's going to discuss more on the hose test, and we've already got our budget items lined up for you for the budget meeting. And that, I think, if there's any questions, that's all I have.
All right, I believe, Don, just to clarify that we have already declared that that equipment, that extrication equipment as surplus. So that has
Yes.
already been
Yes.
accomplished. And
Yes.
I would highly recommend Recycle Depot, both for cost and service for the dumpster.
I'm sorry, what's that again, Steve?
I would highly recommend Recycle Depot.
That's it, Kevin? You're the dumpster guy.
People, I can call Royal too, just to see, because.
Recycle Depot is cheaper and because they recycle a lot of it.
All right, we will check the prices out, Steve. Is that good? The commissioners approve us getting one of those that after we check a couple vendors, find out what's the cheapest?
I would make a motion that we authorize up to $500 for a 20-yard dumpster to enable the department to do some serious cleaning in the facility. Need a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Any chance of being able to throw some of this stuff out at the town's recycling and save some money?
It's not recyclable.
Well, they're not. They have a metal bin that is free to use, and it's not. I'm not saying recycle the stuff. I'm saying, is it less expensive to use the town's facility as opposed to spending $500 for a 20-yard dumpster?
How much is metal?
Metal is free.
No, how much is metal? Because that's how much of what would be going in that dumpster is metal. I think there'd be a lot more than.
Probably not much. There's a lot of junk wood, non-burnable type of wood. The hose, which the couplings get cut off of, because when you take the hose and throw it away, you have to make it unusable, just like we did with the old turnout gear. But if somebody from the Board of Fire Commissioners wants to take the stuff up in their pickup truck, I highly recommend doing so.
I just question the capacity. I mean, a 20-yard dumpster, that's one of those big roll-offs, isn't it? And I
One
wouldn't
of the
think.
medium-sized roll-offs.
Pardon?
The 30-yard are the large ones. The 20 are a bit smaller.
Okay, I just don't know what volume you got, whether you're going to fill that up or not. You don't want to get more than you need.
There were.
Feel confident you got 20 yards worth of junk done?
Yes, I've already asked the guys who are my junking experts, and they felt that that would be for what we have here, that we would probably fill it. Because I have no concept. I don't do that. But Jimmy and Kevin both said, we talked about the other night, and they thought that the 20-yarder was the good size. If we decide that after we do a full inventory of what is going away, that we could get away with a smaller one, then so be it.
Well, you could also go online and they have the dumpsters and the size. Like a 12-yarder is maybe 8 foot by 4 foot by 6 foot high. They do tell you the size and what you can put in there.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, 500 is a little bit steep for that. And there's another method certainly cut off the metal, throw the metal at the town for free, and just make a pile and cut the stuff down and put it in a smaller dumpster. And over a period of time, because it's being emptied every week.
You do remember we went to the much smaller size, so.
But it's still, even with the smaller size, it still has some space in it.
Yeah, it has some space, but what size is that dumpster?
I would opt to let the fire department get the size they need and get it all done in one day, so you haven't got to keep playing around with the mess.
Right. I agree. I agree with that, Russ. Yeah.
One
All right.
Good. Thank you, Ross.
Any other discussion? That being said, Mike, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. The motion carries. Jim Pasikoff, what's your situation now? You're up and at it, or you're still mute? We're not hearing you.
Wave your hand if you can hear us, Jim. Okay, so he's hearing
Jim,
us.
can you call in?
I gave him the information. He could call in if he looks at his phone.
Keep moving forward until he shows up, then go back to his.
Bob Simon says he texted you, Jim, and that you should have the information to phone in. Does not work. So that number, you sure of the number, Bob Simon?
I am sure, but I will tell you what, I'll go back and look again. I used that number to call in myself.
All right. In the meanwhile, Kevin, what do you got to say?
We had the hose test a week ago Thursday. We only had one failure. We're going to put that in budget for next year. There is some hose that was tested that passed, but per NFPA, any hose older than 1987 should be replaced. And we have probably close to 20 lengths of that. So that's going to be put into next. All the equipment is up and running good. For what you just told me, we had a recall on 6 I'll take care of that. That's all I have.
All right.
What is that hose? Is it?
Can you hear me now?
Time and it.
Do you hear me now?
Okay.
Is that you, Jim?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, good deal. All right, Mr. Pasikoff's on. So independent audit, Jim, where are we on that? There was some stuff that you were going to follow through with.
They're fine. They're waiting on the representation letter that you and Bob have to sign. I gave a copy of it to Bob on Tuesday when he was in here.
Yeah, I signed that last night, and we'll send that in.
You can just scan it and send it to them.
All right, you're going to scan
Okay,
it and send that in, Bob?
Yeah, I'll scan and send it to him.
All right, and there were questions about bank reconciliations and other things. Did we get all that addressed, or where are we on some of those issues?
I think we've got them all taken care of. We'll wait till we get the final statement from them, and then we'll just write a reply to it.
All righty. And then the reserve fund correction, we were going to look and see, you were going to look and see if the 9,000 that they thought did not get paid back to the repair fund actually got paid back, because you thought it had and I thought it had.
I think it has.
Okay, have you confirmed that?
I've confirmed it with what we have in the ledger.
And we can see the transactions.
You can see the transaction.
All right, so that's not an issue.
That's not an issue.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Pasikoff on the audit?
So we'll see the final
Yeah,
when
no.
middle. Can you get it to us before
Probably. You'll probably get it within a week of them receiving the rep letter, and they will email it, and they'll probably email it to Steve and to Bob.
Yes, and so I'll actually send that out tomorrow, and so a week from then.
If that long.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Pasikoff?
Jim, I've got some questions I'm going to email you, and it's just for me to get my brain around some of the where we've put some stuff. Page 2 of 8 on the P&L, looking at the LoSAP allocated to LoSAP fund. And we don't have to answer these now, but I need to know why that's 000 across the board. That's a net asset allocated to LoSAP. And then there's a couple other ones, no showstoppers.
Okay, this is a good time to talk about that. What this is a consolidating statement. So you got your general fund, repair reserve equipment, capital improvement. Then you got LoSAP, general fixed asset and long-term, and then the far right-hand column is the total of all funds. So there may be nothing that goes in on that particular line for the LoSAP fund.
Did we all lose him, Buckley?
No, I got him.
I got Jim. Who else do you think we lost?
Jim faded away. His voice stopped for me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
Russ? Can you hear me now? I'm talking right into the microphone, so.
I hear
We've
you.
lost Russ. That's the problem. I think his interconnect.
Let me check on Russ. He's not muted, and
Russ, can you hear us right now? Wave your hand if you can. Yeah, something with his internet. Kevin's not doing well either.
well, Kevin was making a lot of noise, so I muted him until he got all set.
Okay, yeah. No, I didn't say anything, but yeah.
I had to plug in.
All right. All right. So
Anyway, there are a lot of lines that don't have anything for the LoSAP. The only one that there's a bank balance. There are the marketable securities, the change in the mark to market go up, and then it's got on page 2, you've got in really condensed form, you got the dividend and interest income, the year-to-date change in the mark-to-market between the cost and the fair market value of the asset, gain on sale, and then what the district put in, and then the expenses of what has been paid out for benefits and administration costs.
Would there ever be any net assets allocated to LoSAP fund, ever? Because then the basis of my question is, why is it there? Because it confuses the heck out of me.
Well, I thought that everybody wanted to see it. That's why it's on there.
Yeah, because I know we allocated funds to LoSAP
and you see that on page 1, on page 2, it's the last item in the section, general fund contribution of $78,500.
That makes sense to me. That I remember.
And that also shows up in the list of expenses for the general fund.
Okay, we can talk about this offline, and we'll report back to the board next month. Just to straighten some of this, because there's some other stuff. The there's Firematic stuff at one page, and then it doesn't show up where Firematic is. So we can work that out offline, and it might be just me not understanding it.
We'll work it out in the budget.
Okay.
yeah, and you're good for Thursday, a week from Thursday, right, Jim?
Let me see.
8:20, and we had it moved at,
Yes, 7 o'clock on the 20th.
yeah, you're always an integral part of that process. So, okay,
Yeah.
7 o'clock on the 20th. Anything
Right.
else for Jim?
What I'm going to need though is, I got a call into the assessor's office and I'm looking for the assessed valuation of the fire district. I don't have
I
that.
talked to them today. They're working on it. Judy wanted to make sure she talked with Teresa before she published the number. So I'll have
What else?
that to you probably the next time they're in the office.
Okay, well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get this out to you. I've got everything but that in there. Do you want me to send it out and then we can change the assessment information at the last, on Thursday?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll mail those out tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Have
Anything else for
have
Jim?
Karen send me everybody's mailing address.
You can do that, Karen?
I'll
Thank
do that
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you. All right, if there's nothing else for Jim, he's welcome to stay, but otherwise we'll wish you a good night and we'll see you Thursday, the 20th at 7 o'clock.
Bye.
All righty. Back to reports. We had Don, we had Kevin. I assume Jimmy Batrick was not there. Is Susan there?
No, but Susan Standen is.
All right, so Susan stand-in.
So we had 13 calls last month, and I think that brings us up to approximately, what, 80 done?
We're actually, fire has more calls than rescue for the year.
Okay.
So you're right around 65.
So we had 80, and by the way, the Star Medic is, or
Medic.
you're up.
Great timing, Sue.
Great timing. We had 13 calls for the month and 63 or so for the year. I think there's a few more that,
I did it last night when I was alone. I'll show you the stats.
yeah, I'm sure there's a few more that we just kind of had a problem with record keeping. But we had 13 for the month and no COVID calls. So what else? I don't know.
Of the drill.
Oh, the drill. So we had, last month we had a drill covering basic first aid. That was fairly well attended. We will be doing certified first aid along with, some more CPR classes as soon as we get the get-go to start teaching them. This month, the next drill is going to cover patient transfer because, as you know, we've gotten a few new pieces of equipment, including a slide board and another mobile mover, if you will, like that's in the form of a chair that we can move patients with. And so that drill is going to cover how to efficiently, effectively, and safely transport patients onto our stretcher and to the hospital. So that's all I have. Do you have anything for me? Any questions?
No, I don't. Anybody else? For Susan? All right, anybody there from Fire Police?
Nobody here from Fire Police.
All right, safety, we are having our quarterly safety meeting on Monday, the 24th. We'll have zone inspections done prior to that, and we'll have something to report in the September meeting relative to our findings. There have been, in the last quarter, no reportable accidents and no first aids of which I am aware. Don, you concur?
Again there?
All righty.
Oh, no safety incidents. No, sir. Totally safe in the last quarter.
All right. Very good. Okay. Active member roster. Karen, you got an update from Kim within the last week.
The only change on it was her last name.
Yeah. Oh, it's her last name, but we had a resignation. Is that?
That has not been reflected in the active member roster yet.
That was not yet reflected in the active member roster.
No.
Do we have any documentation for that resignation at the district level?
No. Well, the treasurer has the resignation letter.
All right.
Probably doesn't count, though.
It has to be recorded in the active member roster. Okay, and then we had discussion last month about somehow designating who the 10 cancer insurance, who the 10 people were that were covered by the cancer insurance. And also designating, so to say, the tier 1 LoSAP via the tier 2 LoSAP participants. How are we going to progress on that?
Steve, there's a little more to it on the cancer insurance. We've got to cover, we need to have the status of people that have resigned, and we have to be able to contact them, and they have to be able to contact us for 5 years after the day that they've resigned from the district.
Right, so that we have to maintain a subsidiary roster, so to speak, if any of the 10 covered people resign from the department, and we have obligations for 5 years subsequent to the resignation, right? So
I'd put it all on the one roster. Just put it down on the bottom. Until that clock runs out, we should know about them.
right. Now, what kind of communications have we given Karen or on who the covered people are for the cancer insurance? Because we had a list of people.
I have the list of people that Don provided.
And it's 10?
I thought it was 9. I have to find it.
Well, that should go on the a line item indicator on the active member, Karen. So when we design this new active member policy, we'll know those names. The insurance company doesn't want to know them. We just pay for a number, but we need to know them, and they need to know that they're on it.
Right.
I have 9 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7 current and 2 previous.
All right, Don, can you get her a list of the 10 interior firefighters who should, or former interior firefighters who are still active?
Is it on mute still? No. I gave that to you, Steve, didn't I? I did. I know I did.
Yeah, I have 2 previously and 2, 4, 6, 7 current.
Now, there's 10 on the list, and I did
I'm
that.
missing 1.
Is my son on there?
No.
Yeah, there
All right,
it is. There's
10.
your 10th person.
That's number 10. All right, so we can find a way to designate that, knowing the 10 people. I will get with you, Karen, on the LoSAP, and we'll figure out who's tier 1 and who's tier 2. If you could send me just that list of people who've been accumulating points this year.
We went through, Bob T, Don, and I went through and have identified probably most of them. So I'll send you that information.
All right. We'll just double check. And I think the intent is to have it designated on the active member roster, probably on that monthly posting. So people, just a different shading so people know there's a difference.
All we have to do is have a line or a block that says C or B. Contribution, defined contribution, or defined benefit.
All right. Any more to discuss on active member roster?
Karen, is the member roster up to date besides that name change? Are there any deficiencies that you
We
see
have
in it?
one person that has to come off. We're missing a little bit of information on one person, but Kim is working on that. So, so we're doing pretty good with that.
And that name that to come off will be done for the next meeting.
Yes.
I will email Ed and make sure that is done. Okay. Where do we want to go? Okay. Physicals. We've scheduled physicals with TEK The evenings of October 6th and October 22nd. We have provided TEK with a list of names that is on the active member roster because we only give physicals to active members. Any questions on that? It's just for reporting purposes.
The company knows about it, all, the full company?
Yes, it's been posted. It's been on Spotted Dog as an announcement. It was mentioned at the fire department meeting on Monday night. No one has an excuse not to know. All right.
Steve, I have just a quick question. I think I know the answer, but we need to at least talk about it. Even if somebody has had a physical, everybody gets a physical again.
In
Is that
October,
correct?
yes.
Yeah.
If they had a physical in September, they get it again in October, so it doesn't go more than a year. Obviously, we had one person that approached us at the department meeting who had been active, was looking to become active again. The first part of that is to get the physical. We did not refer him to go right in. We're going to tell him to sign up in October so we don't have to pay for a second physical. We're being somewhat careful on how we do that. But yes, you have to have it in October. All right, Facilities Committee. I don't think the Facilities Committee met. I know you've had your hands full, Kevin. Think there's a chance of getting something going, Kevin, in the next month, or what's your schedule looking like?
Steve, I don't see why not. Yeah, things are looking good here. There's you know, a couple days a week I have to make sure my wife gets us some appointments. I'm back to work full time on September 9th, but yeah, I don't see why not.
All right, so let's make that a goal.
Right.
All right.
Along those lines, I think, Steve, you were going to provide Kevin with some information of stuff that had been done in the past, maybe a list of deficiencies or something, and also maybe the work that had been done planning by, I think, the architectural firm. And also, I think somebody was going to talk to somebody over to Roosevelt or about that new firehouse, about getting somebody that is familiar with this type of stuff, that's knowledgeable. How can I say, a resource?
Yeah, I got the old plans to Don. I gave them to you, didn't I?
The old plans were
And
in
Steve,
there,
I do have the old
and,
plans. Someone dropped them off to me.
Okay, so Kevin has
there you
those.
go.
Somebody had a Roosevelt resource. Anybody remember who that was?
That would be me. Art Weiland and myself talked to him.
Kevin
Yes.
got the name and number of the Roosevelt contact.
Well, I remember.
Say that again? I'm sorry.
Kevin Russell had
Kevin
it?
Russell's got the contact for Roosevelt.
Okay, and he's on the committee, so that's taken care of. And what was the other point, Russ?
Well, I remember I say that it almost seemed to me like we need a person, you know, obviously not a person within the company or the district, but a person who is familiar with firehouse construction requirements, rules, laws, as a resource to come in and say, okay, here's all the things you have wrong, and here's possible alternatives. It just seems like you need somebody with a lot more knowledge than I know I have on it. And
Yeah, our previous insurance carrier offered a service where they would come in and do an evaluation. Do you think, Bob, that Marshall and Sterling would offer any such thing, or?
No, I do not. I can ask to see if they have a safety interface.
Yeah,
Perma was really
or
good
some
on
kind
that.
of contact with, not necessarily at Marshall and Sterling, but with the actual company that's carrying the policies. Not the
Yeah,
broker.
we can find out, but remember, we reduced our cost by 50%.
Yeah, I know.
That's one of the things that probably went out the window. We might have missed that opportunity. We could always bring Pesh in.
That might be risky.
I thought Rod said there was people that would have this expertise, and I don't know if he would have a resource that he could steer us to or not.
I will check with Rod. I was kind of expecting he would be here. He might show up yet. But I will contact Rod.
I mean, otherwise, it just seems like we're kind of treading water here in murky water, you know? It's, unless you have somebody that can say, yeah, here's a problem, here's a problem, here's a problem. And
There's a report that has all that in it. Speak up so we hear.
pardon?
Yeah,
You guys hear me that there's a report that has
guys,
all the deficiencies in it?
Yes, this is Kevin. I do have the report. Someone dropped it off. I have the deficiencies. I have the report from the engineering PC company with photos. But like Russ is saying, we can look at these and go, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. But who's going to determine? We're not engineers.
Well, and I think more important than that day report is the deficiencies relative to you know, what we need as a fire district, right? And there are agencies out there. I think I'll check with Rod and try to get an idea of who would be out there that could potentially advise us on this, and I'll get back to Kevin.
Well, wasn't it Steve Baldwin too?
What's that?
Bill Baldwin.
Wasn't it Steve Baldwin that we had contact with somebody?
Bill
Baldwin. Bill Baldwin. He had
Bill
contact.
Baldwin.
Steve,
I'm sorry.
Steve, can I jump in for a minute about
Go ahead,
Baldwin?
Elliot. Go ahead.
Yeah, he has a contact over at the Red Cross. And he's in touch with, just my recollection is that there was a discussion about making the firehouse into some kind of an emergency center.
Shelter.
Or shelter. And he was going to speak with somebody at the Red Cross about what would be involved in doing that.
Yeah, but you know, there's NFPA specs and Pesh would be weighing in on this somehow or another. And Rod is a commissioner at New Hackensack, and they've had a couple of building programs in the last 20 years or so, and he be very likely that he would be able to point us in a direction. So I'll contact Rod.
Okay.
All right. I wrote it down, so it'll happen. All right. For information's sake, Bob Trzynski and I met with two members of the West Clinton Fire District Commissioner Board to discuss the potential to get some kind of coverage contract for the northern end of the district. We supplied them a listing of the addresses that would be affected. We supplied them as sample language a copy of the Town of Washington contract that we used to have out there. I think it was productive conversation. They asked a lot of good questions. They are also meeting tonight, and they were going to discuss what they're going to discuss the issue tonight and advise us how they want to proceed. So there's really nothing to report back until I hear from those individuals, but it's worth noting that we did meet. Annual dinner is September 5th at, what's the venue? Somebody at the firehouse? La Chambord. In the evening, we're going to make sure that all the commissioners get invitations, correct?
Isn't that Labor Day weekend?
It is Labor Day weekend. That might be a problem for some people, but they have a max capacity of 60, so.
Okay.
All right, so we'll make sure that every commissioner gets contacted so that you can make a meal choice and you of course would be able to bring a guest. Blood drive. There's a blood drive we talked about last week that was for, it has been confirmed for Saturday, October 17th. It will be in the bays. It will be done by the American Red Cross. Anybody have any further questions on that? We talked about that last month. Okay, LoSAP. Don, you had provided Karen with a list of people that had participated in LoSAP but were no longer active.
Okay.
And Karen, you had supplied me a copy of a non-vested participant letter that we did, I think, for a half a dozen or so people last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can marry those two up, if that list of people has fewer than 5 years of service, we can send these letters out and we can get them removed from the actuarial formulation, so that hopefully will reduce our annual LoSAP payment. So does Karen have that list, Don?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah.
All right. So if they're less than 5 years of service, if you could, Karen, for September, prepare a non-vested participant letter for those people, we can put wheels on that.
Even if they're above that 5 years, they still, and they don't have 3 years of 50 points, they're also to receive a letter.
Well, let's see if there's any people left over after that. I think most of them are probably going to fall in that most, if not all, are going to fall in that non-vested participant category. All right.
And then on top of that, I need to be able to communicate to PenFlex the names of the people, just to make sure, because they also, the names of the people that go into the defined contribution. Wait a minute. The defined, the new plan, because that's also going to take them off the actuarial for the LoSAP, and that will reduce their cost.
Benefit.
Yeah. So we need a full data set on that, and we just make sure that PenFlex has it for January, for actually December 31st timeframe.
Yep. I think you have all that data, don't you, Karen? And
Yep.
all right, and it sounds manageable. All right, follow up to last meeting in July. Bob, you stated that the insurance company required a specific kind of weigh-in on the brush truck. That information was forwarded to you. That was forwarded to the insurance company. I'm going to assume that that issue is closed at this point. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right. Okay. I will repeat that on September 15th at the firehouse, we're having a sexual harassment and workplace violence class. I would think that would be something that if Bob Simon gets some good internet at the firehouse, that people could participate either in person or via Zoom. And I think that that's something in which the commissioners should participate. So 9/15, September 15th at 6 o'clock at the firehouse, we'll be having that class.
Get me a Zoom link and I'll participate.
Yep. Bob's gonna get that internet going so that we don't have to dial in on a phone, right, Bob?
Yeah, I'll go and I'll buy the router and I'll get the cable and I'll link it up. So we should have internet over here. On the side
Bob,
of
do
the
you need a
firehouse.
camera?
A camera?
Camera,
No.
yeah. No, you don't.
Why do I?
You can do it with
No, I don't need
anybody's
a camera.
computer.
No, the issue, of course, is that the modem and router are in the chief's office.
I don't have an office.
So when the door is closed, we don't really have internet in the meeting room. So all I have to do is run a cable from the router in the chief's room
I don't have a room.
into the meeting room, and then you should have the same amount of internet that you have at the chief's office. So
I don't have an office.
that's pretty much it.
All right, so you're gonna take care of that, please, so we can enhance the way we approach these things.
So
So-
Steve, I'll be more than happy to join in on that. Since I work for the Department of Corrections, I go through that training at least 3 times a year. I could
So
probably
you don't
teach
even
it.
have to join in, just apply some kind of proof of training or something, and I think that makes it better for everybody.
I'll be more than happy to join in, but yeah, I'm
It's the
just
same-
saying.
All right.
same stuff, different day.
Now,
I'll send you an email, Kevin.
Thank you.
when Bob hooks up this new router or whatever, and we're on Zoom, are we going to be able to physically see somebody there presenting this like we're seeing you tonight?
That would be the plan.
Okay. Other than just seeing his phone number down there that's Bob's doing tonight.
Yeah, that's why I keep harassing Bob.
That's why I asked about getting a camera for one of the PCs or something.
All righty. Hold on to your screens. We're gonna try to share a screen here. Bada bing. Everybody see that?
Wow, look at you.
Service agreement.
All right. The tech service agreement. Rod forwarded this several weeks back. And we've all had opportunity to review it. We have stated that we wanted to set up some kind of contract with DK. The first step would be that we review this that Rod gave us. And then we would submit it to TEK and see if we get a signature. So we've all
Steve,
had
it's in our packet also.
okay.
Right. Yep, it is.
All right. So anybody have any input on what Rod sent and want to discuss any changes? Tell me what.
Has TEK agreed to these figures that we've got in there, the amounts that we're going to pay for the different services?
These figures came from a quote that they gave us.
Okay.
Now they might have changed, but we're going to do this contract once a year, and part of it would be if we sent this to them and they said, "Oh wait, no, hold it, our fees have changed," and they would let us know.
Steve, I'm good with it. They need to read the whole contract, and we expect them to honor it this year. Do what it says.
Flexibility climb steers. All right, so it reflects the change that we made last meeting and support. That being the case, I would move that we forward this to TEK, and if they are in agreement, that I be authorized to sign this contract on behalf of the fire district.
Does Don have anything to say on it? I sent it to him.
Well, they got a motion. I need a second.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. Don?
Go.
You're good?
Yes.
All right. Anybody else? Mike? Kevin? Russ?
I'm good.
All right. So that being said, Bob Jasinski, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. This motion carries. So let me see if I can get out of here.
Good job.
And, okay, we know that. Now, Karen, actually what you printed out, I could I could just mail to, or actually I could email that to her. So I'll email that to her. And we'll move forward with that. We also got from Rod a purchasing policy. And that was a little late in the game, but
It's pretty good.
yeah, did you get a chance to look at it, Don?
Yes, I did. It looks very good.
All right, there was at least one verbiage change that I saw that was necessary. Minor. Are you in agreement with the amounts, Bob T?
Yes.
Kevin, you think that's something you can work with? Kevin Russell?
Yes.
All right.
He says yes.
If you look on the page that I'm looking at, number B here, do you see where my cursor is? It says emergency medical services supplies.
Yeah, okay, I see the problem there.
Should we just
Yeah,
say supplies? Because it's not necessarily, whoops. I made a boo-boo.
We don't want to constrain the EMS to $500.
Well, we have constrained them essentially to $500.
We have, okay.
Yeah.
So it's 5 for the chief, fire medic, and 5 for the rescue captain.
Yeah.
Okay, but
That's kind of what we've been working with.
they're not going anywhere near that, so
They probably
I don't have a
push it
problem with it.
sometime. So Russ, have you had a chance to look at this?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out I'm looking at that B, what's the problem with it?
Well, it says the fire chief and ES captain are hereby authorized to expend a sum not to exceed $500 per month for replacement emergency medical service supplies. Well, Don's not necessarily going to buy emergency medical supplies. So
you
I
wanna
would,
take out fire chief?
I want to take the word medical out, and I would want to say $500 each. So Karen, do you see what I'm looking at?
Yep, so, yep, they want to change it
B
to
would read the fire
$500 each.
Yeah, and
And then just say replacement emergency services supplies.
Yep. And everybody saw at the bottom, this would be something that we would have to reinstate every year at the January organizational meeting. Everybody saw that?
Yep, or any other time that we see fit.
Right, and we would have opportunity at that meeting to modify the amounts. So with the changes.
So let me, before you go on,
Yeah.
so I can make the change in here, the fire chief and the EMS captain are both authorized to expend a sum not $500 each? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
That's monthly, Russ.
Yeah, per month for replacement of emergency, and you're taking out the word medical?
Correct.
So it's emergency
Right.
service
Okay.
supply.
Mike, any questions on your end?
No, that sounds good.
Kevin, you
I see it. No, that's okay. Yep.
all right. All right, so then I would move that, what's the verbiage at the bottom here? I would move that we approve the addendum to the purchasing policy.
Says your internet connection is unstable and you keep fading out.
Am I?
Yeah, you sounded like you started to say something and there was nothing coming up at all. And on my screen, it says your internet connection is unstable.
That's yours, Russ.
It's probably yours, Russ, because everybody else is hearing me fine.
Yeah, Russ, that's you.
Oh, okay, I know when I'm not wanted.
Oh, I like that.
I
We're looking at the
we
bottom,
approve
Steve.
this addendum to the purchasing policy, and I'm waiting for a second.
Second.
With the changes, we've got a second. Any further discussion? All right, Bob, pleasure.
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries.
So is this actually replacing the purchasing policy in the book?
No, not complete. This is
No,
an
'cause that's
addendum
really-
to it.
Okay.
Oh.
I didn't look for a conflict. I'll do that this month. I
Bob
don't think there
Simon?
is.
Bob Simon?
Say that again, please.
Bob Simon, what's, Rod's trying to call in. What's the phone number?
Okay, I don't have his text, but I'll, read what I sent to James.
Well,
Do you want me to tell you?
just read the phone number to me because I got him on the phone.
Sure. It's area code 646.
Oh, wait a moment. Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Is that if we go into executive session, is that a phone number that we would be using?
I don't know the answers to that question, Bob. I think that executive session only works for, Steve to do his.
I'd have to set up a group.
Okay, fine.
I can set up a
Okay.
group. What's the phone
Okay.
number, Bob?
Okay, you ready for the phone number? It's 646-876-9923.
And is there a
Bill-
authorization code?
Well, they'll ask you for the ID number. The ID number is 827-4415-5927. They will then ask you for the password. It's 138443, followed by a pound sign.
138443 followed by a pound sign.
Yes.
All righty.
Thank you, excuse me. Sorry about
Did we approve the purchasing policy? We did. All right.
Yeah.
I do not have any further updates. I have not heard anything from Mr. Balkind regarding the Salt Point Turnpike Firehouse Lane intersection. The last thing that I had on the topic list is something that I've been avoiding for months. And maybe I had a little bit of an epiphany. I don't know. We've been trying to come up with some qualifications, some requirements for the support people. And I feel very strongly, and I've talked to Don, and from what I could tell, he was in agreement, that given we have made the investment in this support vehicle, and that support peoples, if you're going to be a member of support, you should be able to operate the vehicle, you should have EVOC, and you should be able to drive the vehicle, and that should be a requirement for continued participation as a support member, and that person would, as all of the drivers and operators are, be qualified annually on said vehicle. Is there anything that I've said, Donald, with which you do not agree?
Not a word, Steve. You speak gospel.
All right.
Well, I'll raise a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Russ.
I don't know how many support people you've got, and I could see potentially somebody being a support person who would be uncomfortable driving that piece of equipment. And I wonder if it's really necessary to have them qualified to drive it. I mean, it seems to me like you might be taking people out of service that you could use without having to make them drive the vehicle.
I mean, it's a fair question. Honestly, I'm trying to raise the bar a little bit, right? And we also have to look at it from the perspective of in the environment that we're operating. There are expenses that go with participation as an active member, and they include being eligible for physicals, being eligible for the LoSAP, all the insurances that are at the forefront. So,
What?
I mean, honestly, I'm uncomfortable with the concept that there are no qualifications to be a support member.
No, when is the thing supposed to?
Well, like I just said, I don't know how many people you got support, but I can see people, for instance, I have a camper and a pickup, and my wife refuses to drive that pickup with a camper. She refuses to drive it with a pop-up behind her. She's not comfortable with it, and that's not negative about her, but I mean, I can see some people that would like to be support that maybe aren't comfortable driving that. I call it a bread truck, you know? And if you're comfortable with it that way, that's fine. I was just bringing that up as a thought that struck me, that you might be eliminating some people that would be useful because of that requirement to drive the vehicle.
Bob, Don, do you think there's any danger there? What's
No, thank you, Steve. I wait for my turn on that. I understand what Russ is saying, but his wife doesn't get LoSAP points for driving the camper, pulling the camper.
No, but I mean,
we have standards. We have standards therein, and we got to remember what the purpose of that vehicle is. It's rehab and decon. That's what it is. Decon is the law, and rehab is saving the lives. So therefore, if somebody's down here with our, let's say, less than half a dozen members, they need to be able to get that vehicle to the scene. It can actually be a lifesaver with the MR and the law with the decon. It's not an overwhelming vehicle. We're not asking them to drive a 25-ton fire truck. And in essence, I believe I totally concur with what Steve says. They have to be able to drive it. They have to have their, within a year, they have to have their decon class, physical, and go through the training that I've organized for all the rehab support people, if you would. So adding that to it, I don't think that is going to be any kind of a showstopper whatsoever.
And you know, to operate all the aspects, the generator and get everything turned
Absolutely.
up, know how that equipment works.
Cold. You got to know how to do cold. You can't be fumbling with it.
Yep.
All right, then I'm in agreement with basically what you're saying, but I just thought I would bring it up.
Yep, and I understand. Bob,
No, totally understood, Russ. Yeah.
Bob, anything to say?
No, I agree with you. You need to have some standards for the support team to know their equipment. They don't have a big list of to-dos, but they've got to do what's on that list.
And what they do is important when it's needed. Like
Not saying that. I'm saying we have to rely on what the board has created the support people to do. And by the way, the decon is not a district directive. That is something new that we've got to talk about in the future.
But it is state law that has that they.
But yeah, no argument there. It may be state law, but there's a discussion for the future. The individual firemen also have to do decon. The support people are not taking their the turnout gear from the individual firemen and getting them cleaned on the spot. So decon is right now not completely defined at the district level.
All right.
It will be in the future, but right now the support people do have a definition of activities, and we need to actually rely on that list being followed.
Well,
Steve, could I jump in just one more second, please?
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Karen, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, make note. Don agreed with Bob Trzynski. And I think that the Angels are singing hallelujah. But they do have a level of responsibility. And one of the things that the chief staff is fighting now is the lack of classes. As Steve and I had kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke the other day, they've designed all the things that how they're going to do it when the classes started. And this is the separation, and this is how we're doing it. It's spent forever separating a room and using diagrams, but there isn't any darn classes yet. So that's great. Let's put the cart before the horse on that one. But they also, like any other group, have a year to take the mandatory classes. In this case, for support, it's going to be their driving class, their EVOC, and the decon class. That is mandatory classes for support.
All right, and point well taken. So I'm going to make a motion. I got to think a moment. I would move that The district set minimum qualifications for the sport group to include EVOC, the decon class, operation of all aspects of the support vehicle, including driving the support vehicle, driving and operations to be validated annually, and that we give through the end of the year for people to be checked off on operation of the vehicle, and that we give 12 months to get their EVOC class and their decon class lacking. Does that make sense?
Does to me,
Don,
Steve.
that's you.
Does to me.
All right, Karen, did you?
Very well worded.
You get the gist of that?
Yep.
All right, I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion?
This is a question. It's not something that I'm looking to happen. And this is actually Don's bailiwick. Each one of the support people would be thought to respond doing the operation of a support through the year. And this isn't just LoSAP. This is, okay, how many times have you responded and driven the vehicle and got out there and used the mister, used the generator?
Right. And you know, and that is, as far as it is that, it's call generated and mutual aid goes out. So how many times a year does that roll out? And I can't give you a number. I could throw anywhere from a dozen or less. But the thing with it is when it is needed, it is desperately needed.
Right. But if there's one or two people.
Every drill they operate it. We do a thank you
and
to.
that's what it
It's
comes
run
down
every
to.
drill too.
The drilling is important because the reality of it is, in the district in which we live, as an EMT, as a pump operator, as an exterior firefighter, as an interior firefighter, you may go months without using certain skills, and unless you drill on those skills, right, you're not going to stay sharp. So whether it's support or pump operator or EMT, whatever it is, right, it just comes down to practice. So, did we vote, Karen? I don't think we did.
No.
Mike, it's your pleasure. Mike?
Oh, I missed it. Yeah, aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That motion carries. Now, good evening, Rod. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm well. How are you all?
We're doing well. We approved the tech contract as is, and I will forward that to Lisa.
Okay.
With a few moderate.
We approved the addendum to the purchasing policy with a minor modification on point B, to read that the fire chief and the rescue captain each would be able to spend $500 per month. And we removed the word medical because we did not want to confine Don to buying only medical supplies.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't know, is there anything else for Rod, or Rod, do you have anything for us?
That is all I had for you tonight.
All right, while we have you, I know that as Commissioner at New Hackensack, you've gone through a couple building programs in the last couple of years, or last 20 years probably.
We have.
And we were looking for some input on basically how we could get a read on the deficiencies of our facilities relative to some of the requirements for NFPA, for PESH, for all those, what kind of resources are out there?
Well, if we were in your position, we would probably hire an architect who has designed fire stations specifically in New York State. We would not necessarily hire them to draw the plans for us, but we would hire him to tell us what we needed to include in the plan to meet OSHA, PESH, and NFPA.
All right. Maybe we could talk offline if you have any recommendations.
I do. I can get you a couple of names, but yes, we can talk offline.
That'd be great. All right.
And Steve, you're get them to me?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. I'll try to give you a call either tomorrow or probably Friday, Rod, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Is there any new business that we neglected? All righty. Anything from the public? The public is basically muted, but if you unmute yourself, we will entertain questions from the public at this point in time. I see Elliot, Glenda, Barbara, Art. Art, anything to say?
There he is.
Art?
Just glad to be able to follow along at this point.
All right. Elliot, anything?
No, I'm okay.
Glenda? Barbara?
Oh, I'm good, Steve. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
We gotta end the fun.
What's that?
I said we have to end the fun.
We have to end the fun, Russ.
No, Russ, you stay on and talk to yourself for a while.
I make a motion to end the fun.
All right. Mike made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Bob, what's your pleasure?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. The motion carries. We're adjourned at 26. I am going to stop recording.